All right, guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. Yes, it's me. It's Dirt. You can tell because it says so on the thing right there on the screen. Oh, it also says down there, so you can see it there too. Everybody else is gone for this Thursday.
Episode of the Comic Book Chronicles.
Feedback. Sorry, let me turn that off. So as it turns out, I guess Tim and Roddy are both seeing Guardians of the Galaxy right now, and Agent _70 is working late. So it ends up just being me, the only one here. So now that 90% of you have tuned out, then those of you who remain, thanks for being here. Tonight on the show, we're going to be talking about comics. That's kind of what this show is. If you weren't really familiar with that, I don't know if this show's going to be for you. I don't know why I have headphones in. I have headphones in so I could listen to the other people on the show. And, of course, there are no other people on the show, so I'm going to set them aside for now. Agent 70 may show up. He may be able to leave work and show up a little later. I was kind of hanging out for a few minutes, hoping he'd come along, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, anyway, we're here today. I guess I'm going to throw out some plugs. I'm going to get started here. Agent _70, of course. You can find him on Twitter. You can also find him on Instagram at Agent _70. You can find Tim at TimDogg, DOGG 98 on Twitter. You can also find him at CBCron, because, of course, this is the Comic Book Chronicles. This is also hosted by The KLIQ Nation, which you can find at thekliqnation.com. And reminder, that is KLIQ. For your click. We also have Roddy Cat, RODDYKAT on Twitter. He's also at News Nerds Need. You can also go to reddit.com/r/News Nerds Need. You can also go to about.me/RoddyCat. Again, that's RODDYKAT. You can also find him on Instagram at CBCaps. And basically he finds fun little panels from the comics, either key parts of the story or just stuff he thought was neat, or apparently anytime Storm is in like a negligee or something, that gets posted on there. So you can find all that there. Of course, you can find me at popculturenetwork.com. That's where I post all of my stuff, plus at PCN_dirt. And of course, popculturenetwork.com, bunch of people post there. If you just want to see the comic stuff, you can always go to ineedcomics.com, which is part of the Pop Culture Network. Is that all for plugs? No, it's not all for plugs. Of course, you can find our podcast at cspn.us, because we are part of the Cold Slither Podcasting Network. You can subscribe to our podcast by going to bit.ly/cbcronpod or bit.ly/cbc Google Play to find the Android app, which are, I think it's actually the Cold Slither podcasting app, but we're a part of that, so you can find it there. Or you can go to bit.ly/cbc mixcloud, or go to soundcloud.com/cold-slither. And of course, you can always shop for cool stuff at shop.cspn.us. And that's where you're going to find great stuff like Comic Book Chronicles coffee mugs. Right? We have those? I'm asking the dog. I don't know if he knows. No, he's just licking himself. I don't know. Well, someone should know. Someone eventually, somewhere. I'm sure someone knows, but it ain't me. All right. Comics this week. We're going to jump into the reviews here. And the big one, of course, this week was Secret Empire #1. Now, I know Matt Wang was high on this. He was talking about it on Twitter. Let's see. I'm going to read. Tim here has some stuff. He says it's not a bad first issue. It's one of those stories that picks up after the bad guys are already in charge. The resistance force is trying to disrupt things. McNiven's art looked nice with Matt Wilson's colors. Sorry, the bottom line was cut off on his notes there. I was trying to do my best to follow it up. I was not as sold on this book, which I know, really puts me in a very small group of comic readers this week. part of it, I think, is kind of the event fatigue that's been going on that we've seen with a lot of other stuff. And we've talked about that on this show before, event fatigue. But for me, it was just, it doesn't feel different from the other events that we've gone through. I mean, it feels different in the sense that, yes, Captain America is a member of Hydra, and he's now the lead bad guy, and he's helping to take over the world. Sure. Okay. All of that's different. The rest of it, not it doesn't feel different enough. And I've said this before when we were taking a look at the Zero issue. It doesn't feel different enough from Secret Wars or Secret Invasion or Age of Ultron or any of these other big events they've been doing. It really doesn't distinguish itself from those. It just kind of blurs along with all of that. And I guess if you were a regular reader of the Nick Spencer Captain America universe of comics, that's what this is really tied into. And so it really plays up that part of the Marvel universe. I don't read those. I'm not a fan of Nick Spencer. I've read a lot of stuff that he's done, and it made me go, a lot of it made me go, eh. And a lot of it made me go, I'm not paying money for this. And a lot of it made me go, I'm not reading any more in this series again. So he's in a very deep cavern he's got to dig out of with a great story for me, and this just wasn't it. But I know a lot of people who do love it, who have been reading all the Captain America books, and for them it's great. And I guess some of that problem is the same thing we can talk about with the other big book that came out this week. And we can jump over to that real quickly as well, and that is Batman 22. And Batman 22, it is part of The Button. And The Button, of course, being the big Flashpoint callback here for the DC Universe. Now, in this part of looking at things, I am more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. So, of course, this story means a lot more to me than it means to a lot of other people. This is a story you had to have read Flashpoint in order for it to make sense. Stop growling. Sorry. We just got a dog last weekend, and he's still not 100% settled in. He's a rescue. So anyway, for Batman to make sense, you have to have read Flashpoint. It helps if you've read some Flash. It helps if you've read some Batman. So it does tie into that. You also need to have read the DC Rebirth special. And so you can make the same arguments with this that you can make, I think, with Secret Empire, where it has to, it ties into those things, so you really need to have read them in order to get something out of them. And the difference is, I read this stuff, I have not been reading the stuff that leads up to Secret Empire. So you can make that argument, and I won't fight you too hard on that argument if that's what you want to make. But I feel like Secret Empire has positioned itself to be the Marvel crossover event. They said this is the last big event, the big company-wide event that they're doing for like 18 months because event fatigue. Just people are kind of worn out of buying all these crossovers and stuff that ties into all these different books. So in that regard, I think it is a story that's supposed to reach out to a wider range of readers than the ones who just read the Cap books. And it's supposed to be more thrilling and intriguing and, whatever to a wider audience. And I don't really think it does. There may be, I'm sure there are a lot of people who they like Marvel, they pick it up. Hey, this is awesome. These guys are on this side. These guys are on that side. They're going to battle, whatever. But for me, because this one with Batman and Flash is only taking place in the Batman and Flash books, it's a big deal, but it's not set aside as a separate series. So it's not like you're buying another crossover in order to get these books. These are the books that if you read Flash and Batman, you've been buying these anyway. So it's not that divorced really from where you would be. So I think that's the big difference. You can cut this one a little more slack than you can with Secret Empire. And the other thing with Secret Empire, and I'll throw that back up here real quick. The other thing with Secret Empire is that there is I guess you could say a callback to the Standoff series from last spring. And without, it's kind of, I don't know if it's really spoilery or not. And I don't really want to spoil it if I don't have to. But there's a thing in the book that I'm trying desperately not to name, and it's either a very large red herring, or it is how everything's going to get fixed. One of the things about the book, like Tim said in his, it's one of those stories that picks up after the bad guys are already in charge. And I'm wondering to myself as I'm reading through this, how are they going to fix this? It looked like there were a lot of characters who died in the background, like probably B-list people that are not. It's not like they're showing you Hawkeye getting shot, but you're seeing these battle scenes and people are dead, and you get an idea that some of them are guys in costumes, not just random SHIELD agent Bob. And so I'm wondering how they're going to fix this, how they're going to clean up that stuff. And so something happens in the book, and there's a thing in the book that they talk about, which as soon as I see it, I go, oh well, okay, then that is very easily what could be used to fix all of this. There's also, they do play some stuff up with Cap, with some of his known associates, and you get the feeling like the weight of what he's going through in order to build this perfect Hydra world is going to come down on him, and it may have a lasting effect on the character, or at least lead to how things go back to being right or being normal, or at least defeating Hydra. And the same can be said in the Batman book, in that something happens in this book. Tim actually, he spoils it in his notes, so I'm not going to go there. But you can see on the cover, that's his dad, Thomas Wayne. And you can see them dead on the cover. That's Bruce and his mother, Martha. If you've seen Batman versus Superman, you know it's Martha. Martha and Bruce are the ones that died that night. Actually, well, anyway, regardless, let's not get into all the details. But something happens with, Bruce meeting his dad that probably will have some sort of ripple effect coming out of this story. I think it's a lot more than just another chapter in this crossover. There's something here that I think is going to leave its mark on the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman going forward. So I really like this book. I thought it was great. I guess I'll just go ahead and say this is my click of the week for this week. Tim says it's his click of the week as well. So there you go with that. All right. Let's see. What else are we going to talk about? We can talk about, well, let's see. What other books? Tim had 3 books listed: Batman, Secret Empire, All New Guardians of the Galaxy. He listed. All right. I will just say, I personally have not read this. My son has. He really wanted to try this out. Of course, we're going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy tomorrow morning because he's homeschooled. So we can just go see movies on a Friday morning. We're going at 11 o'clock in the morning to see it in 3D. And so I have not read this. He read it, though. He's a big fan. He's really looking forward to reading this series. He really enjoyed it. It was one of his favorite books this week, especially because I think the last Guardian series he didn't like all that well. It seemed to really lose focus, and he just lost interest, and whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal after a while. So new series and new, like, woo, excitement. There's a new #1. Let's try it out. So he grabbed it. Tim says, it's another fun issue. Aaron Cooter's art is fantastic. So many mysteries surrounding our Guardians' new status quos, including stuff with Drax, Gamora, and Baby Groot. So there you go. I should have asked my son what he thought about it. I could have had him mention something. If he's at the store right now, with my wife, his mother. I always want to say with his mother, but then it sounds like we're not together. Of course, we are together, but he's at the store, but he'll be back later. I'm going to have to cheat here for a second because Roddy has a book that I don't have the cover to. So I'm going to pop open a new window and look. Ooh, And now I'm blocking. Yeah, you guys can see me pulling up Google. That's great. Let me move that out of the way. All right. Let's talk about another book while I'm trying to pull that up. And we will talk about Bane Conquest. And this is the new series from Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. And if you're not 100% familiar with them, they are the guys who wrote the Batman, I think it was the Batman series proper, back in the mid to late 90s. He also wrote Robin. I think he wrote Nightwing for a while. Of course, he also had runs on like Punisher and a bunch of other stuff. But in Bane Conquest, these two are getting back together to continue the story of Bane. Oh, which, by the way, they created. They did the whole Night Quest storyline. So they're the ones who created Bane and built that whole part of the Batman universe. And so here they are returning to their character in high fashion in order to bring a new story and bring something new to the character, really, as part of the new rebirth part of the DC universe. And who is Bane? And basically Bane sees himself as the protector of Gotham, very similar to Batman, except he's, I guess you could say, more like a gangster. He's the guy who is the savior, a self-declared savior of Gotham City, because he wants to control it and doesn't want to let anyone else take any of the glory, which is why he keeps running into Batman. And someone is smuggling arms, and so he's trying to find out who's smuggling these arms in and why, who they're going to go to. There's some sort of almost like I don't know if it's a terrorist attack or if it's a gang war or how exactly it's all going to fight out, but they've set it up that there's going to be some sort of large confrontation that's going to create this problem. And so Bane is going into Gotham to find out the information and to find out, who's behind all this and why they're causing all these problems and why they wanted the weapons, et cetera, et cetera. So it actually is a pretty entertaining book, and it does flesh out the character of Bane. But one of the other things it does, and this is where I think it's probably most interesting, is that Bane, he has a crew of guys, and they're not like he's got a group of villains that he's running around with. This is a group of guys that he is. Like, it kind of goes back to the whole mafia thing, that these are mafia guys and he's like the mafia don, and they're there to do stuff, and they are all highly skilled guys. They're dangerous dudes. They're not people that you would want to cross, but at the same time they're not like the Flash's rogues gallery or anything like that. They are bad guys who are doing bad things, but kind of for a good reason. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around a lot of times, but the idea is that basically these villains are going to be better people, better protectors in many ways, simply because they're going to fight to the death, and they're going to fight to the end, and they're going to kill people that get in their way, and they're going to do just whatever it takes to keep people safe, whether they like it or not. So like I said, it was interesting. This is a 12-issue series, so this is long. This is going to go on for a long time. And we get a small sliver that really sets up who these guys are that are helping Bane, why he's doing the stuff he's doing, and how he sets off on this journey, this quest that takes him to a couple different places throughout the book. So I enjoyed it. It was a good read, especially if you're familiar with Batman from that era. I think that definitely helps. Bane is a character that a lot of people like. He's a really cool, except for his one movie appearance, or I guess, no, he's made 2 movie appearances. One was bad and one was somewhat questionable. And I'll leave it to you to decide which one is which. But nonetheless, there they are. All right. Roddy Cat has a book he wants to throw out there. This is part of the Catalyst Prime universe of books. This one's called Noble. Noble #1. He says it is an action-packed issue that manages to also sweep in a skosh of backstory on the side. I am intrigued. So Catalyst Prime is the new superhero universe. I forget what company is doing this, but I believe they have a free comic book day book coming out. So free comic book day is, of course, this Saturday, first Saturday in May. So when you head out for a free comic book day, you can grab the sampler book and take a look at what you think about some of these characters, how they're set up in this new universe that's being put together. So Noble, I know they've put a lot of money behind this. The people who are doing this is something they're not doing like a bunch of specials and a couple 3-issue series and seeing if it takes off. A lot of money has been put into this. They're planning on this being a thing, and a thing that lasts for a while. So if you're at all intrigued by the Catalyst Prime universe, then you're definitely going to want to check that out. All right, let's go back to DC here, and I'm going to jump into Aquaman 22. Aquaman, this is the end of the H2.0 series. Basically, these monsters started appearing, and no one could figure out what happened to the team at this research station. These monsters were there, so they figured, of course, they've been eaten and whatever. And as it turns out, they found out that these creatures that are attacking are actually the people. The people from this research crew have been turned into these things, and they're trying to figure out why. And they also find that there's a deep fissure broken at the bottom of the ocean floor. So Aquaman goes to check it out, and these monsters start appearing on the team that he's with. What are they called? The Aqua Marines or something. They're soldiers that turn into sharks. It's kind of goofy, but nonetheless, it is what it is. And so basically, he finds out that fear is the catalyst that turns people into these monsters, and these monsters are actually people from another universe. And this rift in the bottom of the ocean is actually a portal that opens to this alien land. And as you can see on the cover, there's a bomb here that he's trying to defuse, and the bomb exists because one of the guys has been attacked by these creatures before, and he wants to just destroy them and kill everybody. So he's got this suitcase bomb, and he wants to use a suitcase bomb to close the rift. And of course, Arthur is able to make a telepathic link to these guys, so he's unsure of what to do. Mira is like, this is a new life form. These are people we've never met before in this, alien environment. You can't just go out and destroy them. And he's kind of caught in between connecting with this new life form or protecting the people of Earth. And so it does put a very interesting dilemma for him. It's good for him as a character. And so I was glad to see how it plays out. I think it's, again, it's an interesting story, the way it plays with the character. Of course, this is like part 5 of the story or whatever. So if you have not been reading it all along, this particular issue isn't going to do much for you. But if you have been reading the story, I think it's a good ending for that. I just got a notification from Roddy Cat that he is leaving the theater, and he will be here in a few minutes. So we can definitely stall for time until he gets here. Also, shout out to Matt Wang 97. He's watching live and learning how to turn into a shark. Yeah, well, okay. So you don't learn how to turn into a shark. I mean, these were genetically modified Marines who became monsters in order to fight the monsters. So, it's kind of a highbrow artistic look at what it means to be a hero. I'm sorry, I did that. All right, let's move on. We'll jump down to an Image book here. This is Eternal Empire #1. This is from Sarah Vaughn and Jonathan Luna, and they are the people who did the series that I absolutely adored, which was Alex plus Ada. That was one of, I think, the best series that Image has put out in years. It trumps people are like, oh, Saga and Walking Dead, whatever. I'm sorry, but Alex plus Ada was better than both of those by a factor of 100 billion, gajillion, zillion times. So this is their new series, and it's set on a parallel. I don't know if it's a parallel universe. It's an alien planet, and there's this evil empress who is trying to conquer the world, and this character that you see on the cover is one of the workers, one of the slaves, who's forced to pull carrots out of frozen land in order to feed the soldiers. And she starts getting these visions of something happening far away in another land, in another climate, another race of people, another nation, whatever. She's having these visions. And so she decides that she's going to just put her life in danger. She's going to make a run for it, and she's going to try to escape and find out what's going on with these visions and where they're coming from and who's behind them. So it's an intriguing first issue. The artwork, of course, is beautiful. That is one of the things that Jonathan Luna is known for, is making exceptional, exciting, beautiful artwork. His line work, the coloring, just everything is just fantastic. So I'm going to recommend this to people. It's a first issue, so of course you never know how things are going to play out. It's not an established character or an established universe, but it is very intriguing, to use Roddy Cat's words. It is compelling. It's definitely put me in a spot where I'm going to know what the follow-up is, because there's a lot of weird things that happen in this story that I really, know what's going on. You see the things that are happening, but they don't make sense. You don't really understand them. I'll throw the reference that it feels kind of Game of Thrones in some ways, which you'll definitely see if you start reading through it. And I'm not that familiar with Game of Thrones, but even I can see it. So there's definitely some influences there. It's, kind of that medieval magic-y, but it's on an alien world stuff. So definitely a cool book. Definitely one I plan on sticking with. It's Sarah Vaughan and Jonathan Luna. So unless they just start showing photographs of people murdering babies, I'm going to read this forever. That's probably the only thing that might drive me away. Let's see. Let's run down to Sword Quest. Sword Quest Zero came out this week. I don't know if anyone here, Roddy will probably be familiar with Sword Quest. I don't think he read this, though it wasn't on his list. But Sword Quest was an old Atari game, and you can probably pick that up by looking at the cover. Plus, the Atari logo is right up there at the top. So Sword Quest, this was a 25-cent introductory zero issue. Basically, this guy as a kid really loved the game and kept a lot of notes and wrote his own journals as he was playing the games. And there was a contest being held with the games. There were supposed to be 4 games. And as you looked at the clues and did things in different games, you would be able to unlock some sort of puzzle, and you'd send it in and you'd win the sword that's on the cover. Thus, it is the Sword Quest. Well, as it turns out, the big collapse of the video game industry happened. The 4th game was never made. This stuff disappeared. And so this guy basically is looking through his old stuff, looking through his Atari, and it reminds him about the contest and that somewhere this sword is out there, and you kind of get the feeling like there's a little bit more going on, like there might actually be some sort of real magical powers behind the whole thing, and that's kind of pulling him into the story. So there are times when he's playing the game, or at least thinking about the game, and in his mind he's in the world, in the universe, doing the things. So either it's about a guy who's really crazy, or it's about a guy who's jumping into that, in and out of that world. So we'll see. But it was definitely a fun read. 25 cents. I mean, you can't go wrong. And if your store didn't get this, ask them. They can still order it. It's still available through Diamond Comics. For 25 cents, though, you really can't go wrong. Plus, there's a section in the back that talks about the game Sword Quest and how it came out and the collapse of the video game industry and all that stuff. So if you're a big video game nerd, and you want to bone up on some of this Atari history and see some of this stuff, definitely check that out. It's a lot of fun. All right. What else can we do here? We can do Superman 22, which is a continuation of the Black Dawn storyline. The storyline as a whole is pretty good. This particular issue, though, is mostly Lois Lane thinking, driving around in the pickup truck, trying to figure out what happened to the guys. It gets somewhere at the end. The ending is actually pretty good for setting up a want to, check out the next issue. But as far as this particular issue goes, this one I felt was kind of weak. It shows how while the superheroes, Batman has disappeared, Superman has disappeared, Jonathan's disappeared, and so she's left behind. She's trying to figure out what's going on, and as she investigates, tries to find out what's happening, she uncovers something disturbing about the town that they're living in, and it might be something that's been set up for a while, or it might be something that's just happened, and you don't really know. And again, I'm trying not to spoil things in it, but for the most part, it feels like this could have been the subplot in another issue, but instead it's the entire issue. It takes the whole focus, so it does feel a little like filler in that regard. It's not bad, again, but it's there. It's okay. It's not fantastic, but there's definitely worse things that you could be reading. And we've got a tweet from Matt Wang. Was this DC Comics Superman Black Dawn storyline better than Keith Giffen's Legion of Superheroes Black Dawn story? Was that the one with Darkseid? Or was that... Wait, what was that one? Is that the one where Dawnstar killed people? There's a lot of Legion of Superhero stuff. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read Legion of Superhero stuff, but there was a ton of stories over the years. And when you're trying to go back and read through that stuff, I was trying to read through a lot of it in the 90s. Black Dawn, it involved a crisis in which the sun... Okay. Was that the one where the Dominators had the clones? Is that what brought the clones out? Let's see. A long mysterious Black Dawn has been explained as predicted involved a crisis in which the sun was threatened. Drake gave himself to reignite the sun. Black Dawn marks me of unpopular. Yes. Okay, this is the one where the Dominion, they started the takeover of Earth. Yeah, that was not good. That was when Legion of Superheroes started to take a nosedive. Legion of Superheroes was really, it was really popular for a long time with a very vocal and passionate group of readers from the 60s, 70s through the 80s. And then I think this was early 90s when you started to find out about the Dominators and all the stuff that they were doing. And it changed the whole feel of the book. There were clones of the Legion of Superheroes, and then you weren't sure, were the clones the real ones? And it was that whole Ben Reilly thing, and it was a mess. And people stopped buying it, and they made it so there were two books. So you had the young Legion running out doing stuff, and the old Legion was still doing their thing, and it just divided everybody, and it was bad. And that was actually kind of the end of the Legion. I mean, they've tried several times to bring them back, and it's never reignited the way it was. So it's definitely better than that. Okay, that's enough of your... Thank you for comic history here on the Comic Book Chronicles. Still no Rowdy Cat, so I'm still going to kill time talking about books I want to talk about. So until he gets here, I'm still the one just in charge, in control, talking about everything. So Iron Fist number 3, or as we call it, Iron Combat. His journey to fight these 12 different masters on this mysterious island, in order to gain the chi of all these different warriors and become this super great grand champion master. I like it. It really is an action storyline. There's not a lot of character development, really. This isn't about going through his history as a fighter. This isn't about all of those types of things. This is really a story about a guy in a fighting tournament destroying these other weird fighters that he happens to find. And you can see here on the cover, he's fighting a guy with no arms who kicks really well, which sounds... I know. It's a guy... I mean, at least he's not a guy on one leg in a kicking contest. You know what I mean? But that's the type of kind of over-the-top, super crazy kung fu movie stuff you're going to get. I see Roddy Cat here. I'm going to plug in my headphones so I can hear him if he's actually going to try to talk.
I am going to try to talk.
There you go.
What's going on?
Wait, first I want to answer Matt Wang's tweet. He wants to know, why do I have so many Monsters Unleashed merch behind me?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So basically, Marvel's been doing these comic boxes. They did them for Champions, Monsters Unleashed, X-Men Blue, and X-Men Gold. And our retailer cost is $12.50 for 5 short comic boxes with the artwork printed on it. So even though I don't really like Monsters Unleashed, it was cheap for the boxes. And it's got artwork printed on it, so it looks kind of cool sitting on the shelf. So yeah, if I move, actually, if I can sweep.
What I hear, they're pretty sturdy from what you said.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice comic boxes. Of course, I've messed up my whole camera thing now. But they're nice comic boxes. They're high quality. The artwork looks really good on them. I mean, they're short comic boxes. And I've also got a Hellboy one printed back there. So that's why I have those. Not because I like Monsters Unleashed. It's just kind of cool. It's nice having a comic box that's just not the plain white box. So, all right.
Let me ask you a question. Did you get these?
No, we didn't. You had to order... I'm trying to remember. You had to order some crazy number of... Secret Empire #1s compared to your orders of, I think it was Secret Wars.
Right. So
you had to order like 125% of Secret Empire 1 of your Secret Wars #8, and that was not going to happen. Secret Empire is not as strong a book as that was. So.
Yeah, see. So for those those not watching the video, I'm holding up a particular poster thing with Secret Wars. Got Cap Shield and got the Hydra logo on it.
I do have the lenticular Batman that came out this week.
Oh yeah, I saw that came out, but I didn't see it in the store.
Yeah, these were much more heavily allocated. They were a lot harder to get, so you're not going to see them as many places. Okay, so now that you're here, I did read your comments on Noble, but that's all I did was read your comments.
Okay, well, I really didn't have much else to say on that. But it's actually like just like I said in my notes, it is actually an intriguing start to that whole thing. Like you got bits of backstory, like I said, and you got a pretty action-packed story going on there. So it's setting up that character. That's for certain. I don't think it's doing. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's doing much for the whole universe that it's going to be building up. But I know they got 2 other books that are coming out of that.
Well, there's a free comic book day one that tells you about this event. I don't want to spoil it, but there's this event that basically changes life on planet Earth. And so, Roddy's got his. Yeah.
Yeah, it pretty much like the back of the book. I mean, the back cover of the book has that, and it also has the other 2. If you can see that, the other 2 comics that are coming. I think this one is going to be the second one, and this is the third one from what it says. And then, yeah, they're going to have this whole event that's going to be the life-changing thing.
Oh, is that is that Roar Comics from Lion's Forge?
Roar?
Or is it just Lion Forge comics?
Lion Forge, yeah.
It's straight them. Okay.
Yeah, just straight them.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, because they have several different imprints, so I didn't remember if that was one of the imprints or if that was straight from
Right, because the Voltron book was on another one of the imprints, right? Or was it straight then?
Yeah, it was that may have been on Roar.
Yeah,
maybe that's what
which that would make tons of sense also. So,
but the one thing
was that?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. The one thing I was going to say was I know that this is a line that they've put money into. Like, this is not something where they're planning on doing like a couple specials and a 3-issue miniseries and like that's it. Like, this is something that they plan on being around for a couple years. So I know that if people want to jump in on something, this is one of those universes, like a Young Valiant or something that they could jump into.
Right. I was going to ask, like, what would be the closer comparison, but I guess that would be the Young Animal and whatever DC is doing now. And I was going to say Image, but I guess Image kind of started as its own thing, not as an imprint. So that would not be.
Well, I was going to say they were printed by Malibu, but that was just a deal that they made because Image didn't know any printers or whatever. So they weren't really an imprint of Malibu. Just
right.
Okay. So did you read anything else?
Unfortunately, no. I did. Yeah, because Noble, like I read Noble. I do want to touch upon a couple of things, but I haven't actually read them yet. Like I kind of skimmed through Champions, but I still don't know, and Podameron, but that's also because Marvel's got the digital codes back in the books now for the book that you bought.
Yes.
So
victory.
Exactly. Like, woohoo the hell for that. But I wanted to actually bring up this. We need to get this dude on the show.
I just talked about that book, actually.
Okay. So apparently they have this book on Comixology for free, but it's 25 cents.
Yeah, and actually I've got I have got a print one too. Yeah, right here in the stack. I had a lot of books this week, but yes. Woo,
yeah, no, it was a pretty decent week, actually.
And this, I was actually impressed at. Not only was the story kind of intriguing to see this guy who's a fan of the game and looking at the history of the game, whatever, but I also found the stuff in the back interesting.
Yeah.
That talked about the game being developed and the video game crash and all of that stuff that led into it.
And I believe, and I like how, well, from what little I've read of it, I believe it was because I remember the contest that they actually had around, I believe it was this game, or no, it was Earthworld. There was a similar contest.
Yeah,
huh?
Wasn't that a couple years ago?
No. Oh. This was like back in the days of the 2600. Where
there was like an Xbox game or PC game a couple years ago that did that, and then the whole game folded before they ever crowned the winner.
Yes. Oh, you might be. Are you thinking of Majestic or? No, that was the game that was like Ingress. Where it's supposed to have this whole AR thing.
Yeah, and I love Majestic too, but 9/11 killed that one.
Yeah, that was exactly.
But I thought the story was good. I thought the artwork was good, and I thought it was neat to just go back to that Atari era and look through some of that stuff, and especially for 25 cents.
Exactly, because buckle up, because there's going to be a few more as we know. So
I'll buy them.
Yeah, I'm actually. Like the Centipede book didn't seem. It's probably seemed the least interesting to me, but I'll at least buy the first one just to see if it is indeed what they are setting up with the images and stuff we've seen in the preview pages. Which I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be any different from what we've seen of it. So, but and this book right here says like the Chad Bowers, or one of the writers, comes into the store that I go to.
Okay.
And we're going to try to get him onto AQ, who's actually had another book out this week, and I am giving him unsolicited plugs here. Youngblood. Exactly. Well, and that was my thought too, because I was like, okay, so anybody knows anything? Speaking of Image, actually, I was in college when that whole Image thing came out, and Youngblood and Liefeld did all this whole whatever. And I have very little knowledge of that universe per se.
So you bought a copy of Youngblood 1?
Yeah, I did.
But you didn't buy the Rob Liefeld variant?
I did not buy well, I'm trying to remember, because he actually did. In fact, the guy was in the store, and I think there was a couple of variants that my store didn't get, and I'm not sure which ones they had, because that was this was the only one they had on the shelf because the girl was still kind of putting some stuff out.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but I know she did say they had a bunch of variants in the back, so that's probably one of them. And I think actually might have said because Bowers was asking about it, you know, whether they had any of the variants, and even though I think he already got his comps, but yeah, I think that one was probably in the back, and she just didn't have them bagged yet. So
you're missing out on some modern day Rob Liefeld.
Not really, but yeah,
Not really.
You know, you've seen enough Liefeld. You've seen them all. Well, actually not all, but you know what I'm saying.
Brutal honesty. That's the new name of this podcast. This is
you know.
KLIQ Nation
I just
presents
don't
Brutal Honesty.
I don't outright hate Liefeld like a lot of people seem to do, but I just don't. Okay, he created Deadpool, and that's enough for me not to be as thrilled. Although some of the New Mutant, when they did the New Mutant into X-Force stuff, was pretty cool at the time. I did happen to catch a little bit of that, so yeah, I don't know. Like there's a couple of books that I kind of want to get into. I didn't get into like Jean Grey started this week. Something I started. Oh, All New Guardians, which by the way I just came from seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So quick thoughts on the movie then.
It was as good as the first one, with probably 23% more of what you ended up liking in the first one, and a couple of cool callbacks and a confirmation. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Not to give, because I don't want to give anything away, obviously, but
All right.
So pretty much the stuff that you have seen and being hinted at, yeah.
Okay.
That all worked out.
All right. Well, so you didn't read any other comics?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Like I had planned to, but I didn't. What have you all gone over, brother?
Let's see. I've gone over Batman, Aquaman, Bane, Eternal Empire, Iron Fist, Secret Empire, Sword Quest.
Wow, you actually really filled this out this week.
Yeah, actually, I filled up every line on our. I usually don't fill out the form that we use because I only read like 3 or 4 books. I get done in time, whatever. But I actually got a whole bunch read, so I filled out the entire thing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm saying you got some. But no, I can go back and listen to what you said about some of the stuff.
All right, so I'm gonna run through these books, and then you're in charge of news, so start getting news ready.
Okay, we'll do.
So you'll have news.
Not that much.
All right, but see, I haven't looked at the news at all, so
that's fair.
So, all right, let's see. What other books can we do real quick? Let me jump to not that one. Courier number 2. This is from Zenoscope. Let's throw this up there. Courier is the story of a post-apocalyptic world where this woman is paid to travel from town to town in order to deliver medicine, food, or supplies, or whatever. She makes a pretty healthy cut, but she has to go through some pretty bad wastelands in order to get there. And she is delivering medicine to this particular group. They're kind of like outlaw bikers in this world. And she's friends with the guy who's the leader, so she knows it's safe once she gets there. What she doesn't know is that in the first issue, the second in command, who I think is the younger brother of the guy in charge, actually screws over his older brother and gets his brother shot, and he's actually trying to kill him off so he can take over the gang. So she walks into the middle of this situation where she doesn't realize that there's this coup going on behind the scenes. And she actually ends up in a very bad spot in this particular issue. So in the first issue, we see how the world is laid out. We see how this swap with the bikers trying to make a deal with another group goes bad because the little brother's trying to screw over the older brother. We see how the wasteland in between the towns is full of these, like, kind of I Am Legend type monsters. If you remember the Will Smith version, where they're kind of like vampire-ish zombie werewolf things, except these can go out in the daylight. They're just monsters of the wasteland. So she's fighting those. And then in this issue, we see her, get to where this outlaw biker gang is and how she gets screwed over by him and put into a tough spot, which leads into the next issue. So it was good. I am liking the series a lot. This is something from Zenescope that's not Grimm Fairy Tales. It's not related to anything else they're doing. It is a standalone story, and it's pretty good. I like post-apocalyptic stories, pretty much anyway. So this has actually been really entertaining, and I'm looking forward to where it ends up going.
Cool.
Let's see. I got another Marvel here with X-Men Gold #3. Definitely better than the last issue. This one, they're fighting the new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And
Again?
Yeah, well, this
So
is
like a rematch.
They're ending the fight, basically.
Okay.
But this team is different. And it seems like they're not really a very well put together team. And they're trying to figure out why. And that's part of the mystery in the fight is like, why are these guys like working together? Like, it doesn't really make sense, whatever. And they find out that there's some mental manipulation going on. And so
which I think they kind of hinted at that last issue.
Right.
Or pretty much what he said, yeah.
Right. So this makes it more clear of who's actually behind putting them together as a group. And this story is much more action oriented and much more finishing out. Really, this is a 3-issue arc. It's not a very long story, but this finishes up this first little skirmish with the team coming together and then fighting this new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and the person behind it. So it was fun. I'm still not convinced that this is going to be the great like rebirth, resurgence, the new golden era of the X-Men, but it's pretty entertaining so far. So
they certainly are putting enough books out to make it that.
Oh, you mean just the X-Men in general?
Right, because they got Blue, Gold on the solo books, and I think they're bringing back Astonishing.
Probably.
I know. Well, I think we got some news on that later on. So I'm like, that's like they are really bringing back the 80s with the X-Men.
Well, and also I've noticed that a lot of the people on the Blue team are getting their own books. Like you're seeing the Jean Grey and the Iceman and the whatever. But on Gold, I mean, you got Old Man Logan. He's got his own series, but it's been going on anyway. It's not really related to this. But I don't see a Colossus book coming. I don't see a Nightcrawler book coming. I don't see a Kitty Pryde book. Not saying they won't. I mean, it's Marvel. Right. They definitely will at some point. But
and they did the new Nightcrawler book already, and that kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, tied into this though is what I mean.
Right.
So I see them pushing the Blue team a whole lot more, probably because of it's younger, so it's millennials, so they can get the little whippersnappers to read their young kids book. But honestly, I'll take more of this team any day. So I think this seems the book for those of a certain vintage as both of us are. So like as people, we are collector's items.
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
if
don't
we
get me
were
wrong.
Comics would be worth money just because of how old we are.
Maybe a little dog-eared in places, but sure, yeah, I'm worth a little bit.
Well, I'd be worth more. I'm an oversized issue.
Nice. And no sound effects.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I was doing the introductions earlier, and there was nobody doing the cash register or the applause or anything.
And all right, this just screws up your rhythm really badly.
All right, my last 4 books all tie together.
Okay.
So I'll throw the first one up here. This is from Alterna Comics, and Alterna Comics is doing this new push to do basically cheaper comics. These are printed on newsprint. They have that nice that smell that we grew up with.
Yes.
And so there are right now 4 books, but there's a lot more coming as time goes by. 2 books are actually reprints of graphic novels broken into comics, and 2 of the ones that came out this week are I think are brand new, appear to be new. But Adam Rec, this is one of the kids' books. This is one that my son is reading. And it's basically this boy and his parents are traveling into deep space. They're the first explorers to go out beyond the farthest reaches of the telescopes on Earth, and they run into hostile aliens. And so he ejects out and lands on this alien planet and meets this alien treasure hunter guy. And his parents are being held captive on the pirate spaceship. And so it's definitely a youth-oriented, fun book. But this particular one, all the artwork is, as you see on the cover, where it's black and white and orange, which is really weird as you're going through it. It makes a very distinct style. It's a very unique looking book. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, my son is reading this one. He really enjoys it. So it's definitely, if you've got a young child, they're going to like that one. They're also going to like this one that came out this week that appeals to young and old. This is Amazing Age, #1. And basically, these 3 kids that you see busting through the cover here on the front, they were all friends as children, and they used to make their own comics, and they were all characters in their own story. And then as they're growing up into teenagers and becoming rebellious, and they're falling apart, and they're not really friends anymore, they get pulled into the world of the comic book that they created as children. And so it's a fun fish out of water story that you're getting, but it's a little deeper with the kids than I expected, especially with them as the moody teenagers not really getting along anymore. This is another one that my son is reading, but it's one that I think appeals to people our age as well. So this one definitely is a high recommendation for everybody out there that wants to try something different. And again, it's printed on newsprint. It's full color, but it's printed on newsprint like the old style comics, and it's pretty fun. My daughter is actually reading this one, Lilith Dark. This is another reprint from a graphic novel that they've broken apart into the series, but it's basically this little girl who likes to go out, and in her imagination, she's fighting monsters and she's fighting dragons, and she's going into these goblin worlds. And then one day she follows this cat into a hollow tree and finds herself in a world full of goblins and dinosaurs and monsters and whatever. So she gets transported. It's kind of like Labyrinth in a sense, but with if you think of Labyrinth with a much younger child, like an 8-year-old kid instead of a teenager. But she really liked this. Like, I read it and I thought she'd probably like it, so I let her read it, and she immediately like, oh, I want this. Like, I want all of these. Anything that comes out with his dad, I want this.
Nice.
And then the last original one is actually geared towards older audiences, and this is called Croak. And this is about 3 friends that go deep into the woods to go camping, and they find a monster. You can see the monster up in the topper left-hand corner. In the upper left-hand corner there at the top. And they start to turn on each other. They get mad at each other. And so it's set up like a horror movie type of deal where the people that you have to rely on are the people that you can't rely on when everything goes to hell. But like I said, they're high quality for being a $1.50 book on the current market. The covers are slick and hard paper. They're actually, a strong cover. It's not cheap like Marvel when they went really cheap and did their covers the same weight as the paper on the inside for a while. It's not that. It's actually pretty nice. But then the newsprint, it's actually printed on the newsprint paper in it. It's a smell I haven't smelled in a long time. And oh man, when I worked in the comic book store in the 90s, that's the first thing you do is you'd open the box and you would just you get high off the ink smell.
Now see, I like how you're doing that, and then when I had that G.I. Joe that I was sniffing, y'all were thinking I was crazy. So I appreciate the validation.
Well, the difference is you were doing that so I could make fun of you, but now I'm doing it so it's okay.
I see
how that works.
I see how that works. I understand. I was going to say something about that Adam Reck book. That orange color reminded me. It looks like the same orange color from the Predator book that I believe also came out this week.
Oh yeah. Well, I think my scanner makes the colors a little different. It's not as day glow as that is. It's still pretty bright, but yeah, even though it's black and white, you can see there's a lot of gray tones in there that add to it. But it definitely has a very good look.
It's a cool look from the cover.
Yeah, my scanner doesn't like that day glow orange. I can show you this is how the book looked when I scanned it.
Yeah.
So
and
so
see,
that
it's
day glow
much dark. I mean, it's much brighter in the stores.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen this Predator book on the shelf, it is like 90s jogging spandex orange. Like it is.
Yeah, somebody mentioned it in the store too. So
I mean, technically, I guess it's the hunter orange. Like when you're out hunting for deer and you wear those orange vests so that nobody shoots you. Like it is that color. And this
I wonder if they thought about that.
Yeah, it's Predator hunters. So maybe that's why they did it. Maybe maybe you've got like Tim Allen hiding in the background in one of these shots, or the Duck Dynasty crew. I don't know. I didn't look through it very deep, but you never know. I mean, everybody's looking for a way to merchandise. So
true that. Oh, so I have to ask you real quick. Going back a second, because you probably already talked about this. Are you guys ready for? Well, I guess we're about to get into the news, so this would probably go into some of that. But you guys ready for Free Comic Book Day?
Oh my gosh. No, not at all. Free Comic Book Day is actually one of the worst days working in a comic book store. Okay, well, I'm gonna give the same spiel that I gave last year when I was talking about Free Comic Book Day. People, please remember, comics that are free to you on Free Comic Book Day were not free to your store. They were discounted, yes, but they were not free. We've paid hundreds of dollars to get these comics that we are going to give away in the hopes that when you come to the store, you're going to buy something else, maybe sign up to become a subscriber, pick up an action figure, grab a video game, something while you're there. So please, when you go to your store and you're grabbing those comics for Free Comic Book Day, please remember that they were not free. Your store paid for those to give them away as a way to bring you in and try to get make a customer out of you. Our particular store, we've got a couple artists who are coming in. We've got a local guy who's done some underground books in our area, the type of stuff that gets printed at the local, like the Blueprint shop is printing off the books. He's a local underground artist. We've got a guy who was a Silver Age artist, Jack Haynes, is going to be there, signing books and doing sketches. We've got a writer, Vince Churchill, who's going to be coming in, signing his stuff. There was a colorist who was coming, but he had to cancel. He said, he goes, I'll send someone else in my place. Don't worry. So we've got someone else coming. We don't know who it is.
All right.
Who's going to be coming along. Good. Yeah. So, you just kind of hope that it's not someone terrible, but we've got people. There's a group called Superheroes for Smiles, and they dress up like superheroes and go to hospitals and, Special Olympics and things like that. They're going to be there. We're going to have someone in a full head-to-toe Pikachu costume is going to be out there taking pictures with the kids. So
please make sure you get a picture of that.
Actually, I've got a picture. I don't know if it's on this computer or not. I'll look real quick while we're talking here. But yeah, Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day is like it's great as a tool, like I said, to try to bring people in and make new customers. But at the same time, it's also, as horrible as this sounds, it's also the day that the most stuff gets stolen because there's so many people there. It's just wall-to-wall people sometimes with the crowds and stuff, and it's really kind of terrible. We actually have guys who come in and their whole job is to just watch everybody and look for people taking stuff. So our goal is to sell more than stuff that walks out the door.
Right, because I imagine that would be kind of hard to. And I remember you showing us the picture of your store, because I can imagine trying to, as many people are coming in and out during that time, and however you have your other stuff set up, and trying to watch everybody and trying to help everybody at the same time. I imagine that could be a pretty big hassle. Yeah,
it's pretty tough. Here's the picture of Pikachu. Let me throw. There we go. There's our Pikachu suit.
Aww.
So yeah, Pikachu will be there. So if anyone wants to stop by, Killing Enterprises, 1650 Wabash Avenue, Springfield, Illinois, for free comic book day. Pikachu, superheroes for Smiles are going to be there. Free comics, all that. Store-wide sale. I think everything in the store is going to be 20% off. Of course, I don't own it. I'm not making any of this money, but I happen to work there, so I'm throwing out a plug for them. So.
And the reason why I wanted to bring up the free comic book day was partly because of that, and also to make that PSA known again for people, because people just walking in the stores don't realize that, and kick your local comic book shop some bucks, man, while you're in there.
I've told people before that it's not free for our stores to buy the comics and give them away, and they were just kind of shocked, like what? Like, this is how Marvel gets people to buy their books, and this is how DC, it's like, yeah, that's true. And so they make them discounted to us, but they're not free for us. We still have to pay money to get them in, which really sucks sometimes. You just, I know my boss is a little freaked out at how much money he's invested, buying the free comic book day bags and printing the flyers and getting the books in and the shipping you pay, to get all the books in, and, paying for stuff like we're going to have pizza, free pizza throughout the day. So, he's been paying for that. And, last year he had a radio crew come by. I don't know if we're doing live radio again this year or not, but I mean, it's a huge thing. It's like the Black Friday for comics,
Right.
So
it's a pretty good analogy, actually. Yeah.
So quick question. Do you have the ad reads?
Give me a second. I can get them.
Okay. I'll stall for just a second while he looks for ads. And just remind you, Tim is out seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 right now at Agent _70. Yeah, but Agent 70 is stuck at work. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, but I mean, I hope he's making overtime. I hope he's getting something out of it. So just
we would hope.
So
really.
Shout out to those guys who are not here at the moment.
Here we go.
Thanks to Matt Wang for watching.
Yes, always love to have Matt in the audience. Probably should have rolled him in. If he was able to, but
and it's also one of those things. I wasn't really thinking about it until like 5 minutes before I started the live stream. Like, probably should have done this.
Of our pants here. It's all good. There was something else I was going to mention, but I don't remember what it is. So you want to go ahead? We can go ahead and do the ad now then?
Yeah, go ahead and do the ad.
All right. We will do the tried and true Busted Tees, because I believe that's a quick one. Oh, great. This episode of the comic book, it's so much easier when Tim's doing it. This episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles show is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool tees that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture, cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, geek culture, and much, much more are on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then clicking on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Maybe I should slow down. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. They do have some good stuff, folks. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today.
And we just got an update. I'm trying to pull it up now. Yes. Matt Wang, 97. He says, I hate to tell you that Agent _70 is bailing me out of jail right now after my adventure with Stingray and Kid Kaiju.
Yes, I heard there was something happened with Stingray this week. I wasn't sure if that was actually legit or not.
I got to say, though, I mean, quite honestly, Matt Wang being in jail, yeah, I get it. I see it.
saw the Stingray rabble. I think that's what did it.
It's just logical.
That dude, yeah. All right, so we are going to go on to the news section with all of that. Oh wait.
Uh-oh.
Okay, never mind. I thought I had a package. I do have a package, but it's nothing to show.
Hey.
All right, so first bit of news. I don't know why I'm pulling up the sheet because I just did them all. So I'm going to go share this real quick so I can do this quickly. All right, cinematic news as we start off. What's up?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Wonder Woman TV spot offers first glimpses of Ares. Now I looked at the spot a couple of different times and I don't remember seeing Ares, but then again, maybe I didn't pay that close of attention. But it's a pretty good TV spot, you know, showing us a little bit more on the soon to be coming Wonder Woman movie. Oh, actually, maybe that was a glimpse. There we go. There was a glimpse right there. Either way, that's that. This thing.
So there's like a half frame shot,
right? So, but otherwise, this movie still looks pretty good. So I'm
actually looking forward to this one quite a bit. And honestly, I didn't think I would, and not because it's necessarily, like Wonder Woman is one of those characters that when George Perez did it, I loved it.
Right.
But then like the guy who's doing it now, I can't think of his name. I don't care for it. So it's like I'm kind of hot and cold with the character depending on the creators involved. Like it's not a character that I always like seek out. But like if you're doing Justice League, then yes, she's a key character. She needs to be there. But like if there's a Batman comic on the stands, I'm buying the Batman comic. You know what I mean? Like that's a character I always go to. Wonder Woman is not a character that I'm always as strongly, pulled towards, depending on who's doing the book. But this movie just seems like it's a lot of fun. It looks like it's phenomenal. And it does look like, with Chris Pine being in it, it does look like it doesn't take itself as seriously as some of the things we've seen. Right.
See, and you know what? That's the weirdest thing about that. Because I just watched Star Trek Beyond fairly recently, and all I saw was Steve Trevor.
Well, yeah, but Beyond wasn't a very good Star Trek movie.
You know what? Yeah,
it's an odd number. It's an odd numbered one. I mean, it's got the curse. There's nothing you can do.
I didn't think it was still held on to that. Now,
I didn't think it was terrible. Like it's not. It's not like the worst, Star Trek movie ever made. It's not Undiscovered. No, not Undiscovered Country. What was the one?
Oh, Jesus.
What was the one with Spock's brother?
Cyborg. Final Frontier. I believe that's what.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that one was. That might be the worst one ever made. But
which I will say this, and no, hopefully not a spoiler. There's a little bit of Guardians that kind of reminded me of that movie.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it does it to a better effect.
Your microphone's starting to.
Okay, that was probably just for the best. Hang on 1 second. Let me do this.
Probably because you have 93 tabs open in Chrome. That is
absolutely true. How do I sound now?
Oh, now you're fine.
Okay, but yeah, like I said, there was a little bit that just kind of reminded me of Final Frontier, and I was like, wow, that was weird. But yeah, it was a fun movie, and that was pretty much it. Like Justin Lin, I expected a little bit more drifting, the Enterprise to be drifting a little bit more, but being that he was a music video person before all of this, some of that showed. Anyway, moving right along, because this is not the Star Trek show. NBC's Powerless, not officially canceled yet. President Luthor out to destroy world in season finale. So last week we talked about the fact that Powerless, because there was an article saying Powerless might be canceled, and this from Newsarama saying that maybe not so.
Roddy Cat, I think Matt Wang is going to have to sit in a timeout. He just sent a tweet saying that the last Star Trek Next Generation movie was the worst one, Nemesis. That is untrue.
No, Nemesis was actually, I mean, in comparison, Nemesis was all right.
Nemesis was pretty good. I actually liked that one. Yeah, with the Romulan clone of Picard. That was.
Wait, was that the one with Eric Bana, right?
No. That was the one with the guy who played Bane.
Tom Hardy? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Shinzon was his name, Yeah, that was good. And Ron Perlman was his Riemann second in command guy.
Right.
I liked that one quite a bit. I thought that was good. So no, Matt Wang. No, bad Matt Wang. Bad Matt Wang.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. Like I said, comparatively, Nemesis was pretty good. I hadn't seen that one, and I think Insurrection would probably be the worst.
Yeah, I haven't seen Insurrection.
Yeah, I haven't seen Insurrection in a minute though, so I can't really say. At least of the later ones.
All right, so Powerless. I still have not. I have not watched a minute of Powerless.
I've watched 2 shows, and I'm holding my fingers up like you can see me right now, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you watch the first 2 or just 2 random
first 2?
ones? Okay.
First 2. So it's like, yeah, it's a good hustle, and I see what they're going for, but I don't know. Romulan clone of Picard. Yeah. I mean, call it what it is. So I don't know. Like I'm glad the show didn't get canceled if that's the case, but that's not necessarily keeping it off the block either.
Yeah, like I don't wish them, ill will or anything like that, but it's just, I don't watch a whole lot of TV shows, especially the comic book ones, because they're always so different from the actual comics that it just annoys me. So for the most part, I just don't watch any of that tie-in stuff. So
Fair.
Again, nothing against this show in particular, but yeah, I just never watched it.
Yeah. Moving right along. Speaking of DC stuff, Jeff Johns is already writing the Titans show. So I'm going to assume he is doing. Actually, this probably does say. So as we know, DC's got this branded thing coming out where they're going to have a bunch of content on it, including this live action Titan show that was on TNT before this, and also the Young Justice season 3 that is coming out, which is, by the way, I think we forgot to mention that last week. It is called Uprising, which is the subtitle of the Young Justice thing, I think. Either way, Jeff John's already writing this, and I still don't know what to say about the show, because the live action Titans on paper seems intriguing, but at the same time, I'm also thinking of Birds of Prey.
Yeah, it's got to have money is the thing, and I don't know how much money they're going to put on a show for an app.
Right.
It just, because everybody has superpowers that, and even Robin doesn't have superpowers, but you'd have to CGI so much of his stuff and blue screen so much of his stuff that I just don't know how they're going to pull off the show without it looking incredibly cheap. Unless it looks like that Justice League episode of Smallville.
Yeah.
Which I guess maybe they could try doing it that way, but I don't know. I don't watch shows based off comic books, so I'm not the market for it anyway.
Right. And I've been watching them, but I'm in kind of behind on a lot of stuff, and I'm still willing to check it out. And I'm not, by the way, I should point out, I'm not saying Birds of Prey was a bad show. I just, from what I remember, it not being very eventful.
I tried. It was one of those shows. It was on like the WB network, I think, and I didn't have a WB station anywhere in the area at the time, so I didn't watch it. And I tried watching it years later, and could not do it.
If anybody's in the market for that, the CW app has the whole season of what it was. So they also have the old 90s Flash too, which I can't say that holds up in particularly well, but it is amusing to watch. So there's that. But yeah, like I said, well, see, and the only other thing about this is this is just like the Star Trek Discovery thing, which we still don't know how that's going on. And they're also putting it behind CBS's thing, which that really needs eyeballs, because I don't know what's going on with that, and I don't think they do either. But
yeah, I pretty much lost faith in that show anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel the same way about that as I felt with like I didn't care for Voyager very much, because it just felt like after Deep Space Nine, it's like, oh, it's another show about a ship going off into deep space. Like, like we've been there. And then they did the one with Scott Bakula that was like, oh, Enterprise. We're doing a ship, but we're doing another ship going deep into space, but the tech isn't as cool as it was.
Yes, but yeah, we're doing it from back in the day when things first started, and yet we still seeing things that have shown up later. Yeah, actually, and I will say, Enterprise is, from what I've seen so far, is not as bad as people have poo-pooed it. The Star Trek fanatics have poo-pooed it, but sure, I see the flaws, and it has many. So moving right along. And of course this happens.
You must allow ads.
Yeah, damn it, comic book. I don't want to do this.
All right, well,
Supergirl recruits Guardians of the Galaxy actor for a role. Not sure who it is and what it is, because I was not trying to.
This article contains spoilers regarding tonight's episode of Supergirl.
That is true.
So,
and it was from this last week, I think. So because this news is a few days old. Wait, was that what Matt Wayne just said?
Oh, he's rewatching Deep Space Nine on Amazon.
You're damn right you are, because that show is awesome.
Like, I love the original series. I love Next Generation. I love Deep Space Nine. I'm lukewarm to Voyager. I couldn't stand Enterprise. I've given up on Discovery. Yeah,
and Voyager didn't help itself by the whole move, because you remember the whole CW's the CW UPN merger move thing, and channels kept getting moved around and whatnot.
Right.
So it was in the midst of that, and that did not help it at all. And it wouldn't. So I think a couple of the seasons got rushed, and it was a whole few things. Anywho, that's for Star Trek talk coming somewhere later with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Stan Lee cameo theory is real, and I probably shouldn't have put this in because it is kind of a spoiler for one of the. It is kind
Guardians
of a spoiler
of the
for the movie. Yes, but I will say this: there was this theory that's been going on, which is comparing. It seems to add up. That's been going through all of the movies where is all of Stan Lee's cameos are concerned, and if you're a comic head, specifically Marvel, you get where it's going if you haven't seen the theory already. Next up, Ghost Rider confirmed.
Wait a minute. Let me just ask real quick.
Sure.
Just to ruin everybody's night. Is Stan Lee the god at the center of the universe, like from Star Trek V?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, that's not the part that does that, but no. I kind of want to actually spoil that scene that he's in, but no, I'm not going to do it because it was appropriate. I'll put it that way.
All right. So
Ghost Rider confirmed for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fiery finale. So I believe there was a tweet. Around the time that I saw this, there was a tweet from Gabriel Luna saying something about I heard you need somebody to go against robots or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it kind of gave light to some of this. And with the storyline coming up, I didn't think they would actually, go back to that. But I guess it makes sense considering when his character was around,
Is that good? I mean, did people like Ghost Rider on Shield?
Yeah, people enjoyed when Ghost Rider was on the show. He was pretty. He worked it. I'll put it this way. He was a little bit. I thought he was a little more subdued, than you would think. But it's also television, so what do you know? But I thought he pulled it off, and the effects was all right. And like I said, last we saw him, we wasn't sure if he was going to come back anytime soon. But they kind of also hinted at us like, yeah, we'll probably see him again.
Okay.
And I imagine the problem was like those effects can't be cheap. For doing
that.
Yeah.
I remember reading something about that. That's part of the reason why he had to go was because it cost so much.
Exactly, and him especially. But I like what they've been doing with the whole virtual world, situation going on this season. I'm hoping they would bring some folks back, and they have, but not permanently. Sounds like anyway. But that is a whole nother one also. Marvel debuts Inhumans teaser image. And this is the image right here. If you're watching the video version, it is pretty much the thing that is across. That's on Black Bolt's suit.
Wait. But they've released an image of the Inhumans.
Yes, they actually have. Yes, and I thought it was in this article, but but it's not. So yeah, there is also a picture of the cast in full regalia. Medusa has short hair, which has some people not crazy about that, but at the same time, I'm like, I get it. It has to be TV and it's functional, and it'll probably be CG'd into grow or something.
Yeah, but I mean, if he doesn't have the tuning fork on his head, I mean, come on.
You know what? I don't remember looking that close to see. Oh wait, here we go, because it's right here. Let's find out together, folks. Yeah, so they just had him. So he does not have the tuning fork.
I mean, it's like he's wearing a version of Cyclops' suit from the first X-Men movie.
The leather.
And they just didn't put the tuning fork on his head.
And I'm wondering if that's the case. Like they didn't want to put the headdress or the mask on him.
And even like I could understand they might think it's a little silly, but even if they put like the crown on his head and the crown had the tuning fork and he was wearing that all the time, I would be fine not having it be like part of his actual face. But I don't know, just seeing this dude standing there like that, just I don't know.
Looking like a young Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Even in the comics, it's weird to see Black Bolt without the mask and stuff, as they have been doing them sometimes. So I'm like, wait, who's this dude? Oh, wait. Just a tuning fork. Let's see. So next up, Hulu orders Marvel's Runaways to series. So yeah,
I never got into Runaways. I heard a lot of people talk about it, and I tried to read it. I just could not get into it.
I think it's probably like Tim's age and younger, probably the more of the
those young kids like Tim.
The younger kid, yeah. I mean, out of all of us, he is anyway. That it kind of because he actually said, like Generation X, he's also like that, and that's another one that I really never got into. Runaways, a matter of fact, I need to go back and finish reading it because I started reading it and I didn't really get that far into it. I'm like, I can see some appeal, and I like the Young Avengers, the way that's been handled, stuff like that. Not saying it's the same type of book, but sure. We'll see how a live action version of this goes, but it's gonna be on Hulu. So, hey, from one platform to another, Netflix debuts first full-length Defenders trailer. Have you seen it?
Yeah, actually, it was playing in. Someone was watching it on their computer the other day, so I kind of stood behind them and watched them. And it's interesting, I guess, but again, I don't watch these shows. I couldn't get through a whole episode of Jessica Jones. I can't get through the second season of Daredevil. It's just so slow, and Punisher is really whiny, and it's just kind of annoying me and pissing me off. And I just I just kind of gave up on the whole Hulu or Netflix verse. So,
yeah, I still have yet to watch Iron Fist. The other ones are good, but I still have yet to bring myself to do it. So, Defenders is going to be out this August, and Punisher is going to be out this November, and Defenders is going to be eight episodes, which is far removed from the 13. Well, not for the 13 that the other ones have been getting.
Is that wasn't Stranger Things? Was that 8?
Probably. I don't know. I've never watched it, but I hear great things about it. Yeah.
Come on.
I hear there are things about that I would appreciate, but there's a lot I haven't caught up on yet. So,
All right. Well, stop watching anything on the CW ever, and go watch Stranger Things on Netflix.
Well, I'm invested on that one, but yeah, I'm still behind on those too. I haven't. They're not even Legends, as Matt Wang is pointing out.
See,
it's like the Beastmaster of these times. I don't know about that.
I tried watching the first episode of Legends, and that's another one I couldn't get. Legends of Tomorrow, I could not get through that first. Like it looked, and this is my fear with a lot of these shows, like especially Titans and whatever. It's like it looked like those syndicated shows from the 90s, like Super Force.
A little better. They got a little bit better money behind them now, at least.
And it was like a lot of the characters were just annoying, and they were like, "Oh, this character might die off," and I'm like, "Good." Like I don't like this. I don't like these people.
And I was about to say, actually, Birds of Prey would fall into that category you just described. But
like I said, I don't watch shows based off comics. And
fair. But I would say Legends got to be the most fun of all the Arrowverse shows, and it probably still is. Like I said, I hadn't watched. So the only thing that messed me up is that last crossover, and I was slightly behind on Supergirl, which apparently had nothing to do with, or very little to do leading into the crossover, so it was unnecessary to do. Matt Wing also says Runaways was a lot of fun, and the first 2 years were best. It breeds better in digital, which sure, I don't doubt it. Like I said, I got them. Which, oh man, I don't know. I think I do have it, but we'll get to that in the the other news. So let's move on. So here's some news that you'll probably appreciate. New Spawn movie is one step closer. Creator reveals. Todd McFarlane has come out talking about a new Spawn movie. I was just playing Soul Calibur 2, which has Spawn in it, which has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. But I just thought it was like, well, that's some weird timing. But
so he says it's one step closer, like the Linkin Park song. Like hearing this is going to make me scream like a banshee.
I think it would make all of us scream. So yeah, so he basically he put out a video saying, hey, he hasn't said anything about it. He's just pretty much saying, hopefully at San Diego, there's going to be more about the Spawn movie. And that if it happens, it's going to be R-rated. Duh. Like if you're going to have something like Spawn, you wouldn't wait, was that first one PG-13 or was it R? I thought this one was R.
I think actually it might have been PG-13 and the animated series was R or MA or whatever.
Yeah, I think the animated one was R, which I thought that was all right at the time.
Matt Wang is trying to defend Legends of Tomorrow by saying like I said, I don't know if Beastmaster is a plus or a minus for the show. Exactly. And he said that's the point. The cheesiness is fun. Season 2 has great energy. Also, it's basically Justice League Detroit / JSA. Like again,
that is absolutely true, especially this past season. That is absolutely true.
But again, that's a Justice League Detroit reference. Again, I don't think that's a positive. I don't think you're helping the series here.
Like I would agree with him. It is quite fun, but yeah, it's the cheesy kind of fun. Let's put it this way. Moving right along. So yeah, those Spawn movie, sure, time and place. Get yours, Todd. Okay, we are done with cinematic news. And stupid thing did not stop playing when I said stop, darn it. So now we're moving into comic book news. And this is one I wish I had my tablet set up for this, but I don't. So Marvel announces a new Color Your Own app. If you have been following us and any other comic stuff, coloring books are a big deal now. Marvel has put out a bunch of them, and now they have an app. As a matter of fact, wait, I can't bring it up. It'll just not in the way that I want it to. So hang on for a second. I'll turn this on. So it looks like, so you have some of those.
Is Leah Thompson in the app?
No, this is a totally different video. I don't have no idea where that, because I couldn't stop it earlier from doing what it was.
So it's been playing for like the last 5 minutes or something?
Yeah. And I think it was because the first video was about the app anyway. So here we go. So let's see. I think you have some of the Color Your Own Marvel books, right? The ones with the outlines to them. The
I have some of the DC covers when they did the variant covers.
Okay, gotcha. So here's the app. Well, wait a minute. Let me get off share here for a sec. Pow. So here's the app. Unfortunately, it is iOS only, but yeah, exactly. I think now I do know there is an Android version coming. So they didn't say when. And the only reason why I wanted to check this out was because it was like, it was out. So I don't know if that's going to play because of the brightness, but. So
yeah, when you hold it there for a minute, it shows up fine.
There we go. Okay, cool. So you got a bunch of the books, and apparently it's got in-app purchases, obviously, so you can get different books. So they have a Deadpool one down here. They have the Doctor Strange book. They have the Star Wars book, Young Marvels, and if you go into them, then you get pages of line art. Hang on, see if that's gonna.
So wait, so you have to pay to buy the uncolored artwork?
Well, I think there's at least one or two. Oh, maybe not. I thought it was. Oh wait, no, because it just says something about subscribe now.
How much are they?
It says, this is weird. So it says something about an ultimate access feature, and it says there's a 7-day free trial, and then it's $7.99 a month, and then $40 a year.
What? Just to get uncolored comics that you color yourself in this app?
In an app.
Oh.
So yeah, like I said, this is pages. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to play all that well, but if I had the other thing set up, then it would. But if you've seen any of these books, they pretty much took pages out of the book and put them in this app for you.
They're like splash pages and covers, aren't they?
Right. So,
and so you have to pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to have access to these things to go into the app, and do you actually like move your finger back and forth to color them or do you just tap on red and then tap on an area and that area is red?
Let's find out, because what they did do is, like, if you notice, you may not notice, and I can't see.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, you know what? What we didn't do clicks of the week.
We'll get to that at the end.
Back to in a second. Yeah. So I gotta move this thing because I can't see it.
Because I mentioned mine. I mentioned mine and Tim's because I had Tim's written down. So I mentioned that earlier on.
And see, I only did one. I only had one book, so there wasn't much I can do. So the first 2 or 3 of these pages up at the top, those are free. The rest of them are locked.
And you have to pay $8 a month to color the rest of them.
It seems that's the case. And then, so I got the first one downloading, and there it is. And you got your little color palette down here at the bottom. Okay, thank you, Agent 70.
Agent 70 just sent us his click of the week, so we can discuss that here.
So you got your color palette down here at the bottom. You got, this looks like the Zoom. Wait, is this the Zoom? What is going on here? There's a tutorial. Okay, so you got brushes. You got your brush opacity here. I don't know what this does here. You got your fills. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
You got your swipe to erase. So, and they got colors locked. Wow.
So you have to pay to unlock colors.
So for these
that's
fills,
part of that.
Yeah, this is part of that subscription thing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so yeah, so it looks like according to this, you're just touching the areas to fill it. If you can see that.
Yep, I see it.
So I don't know. This is somebody will do this.
Hard pass.
Yeah, and I'm not like, even if it was freehand. Oh, here we go. So you got brushes, you got pencil, marker. It's not letting me do anything.
It's a great app.
So this is a great app. This is awesome. But anyway, that is there for people who want to try it. I didn't see the subscription thing until just now. Well, I did see it earlier, but I didn't recognize it was that crazy.
Well, the new Marvel coloring app is not my click of the week. I'll tell you that.
Oh wait, it did actually kind of color. Let me see. Let me get a deeper color. See if I can.
Did you have the opacity turned all the way down or something?
Maybe. Yeah. Turn it down. Let's do brush size. You know what? Screw this. Because
anyway,
because I did see a little bit. There was a little bit of color over here that wasn't there before, but I'm not doing.
You've shown me enough that I can make up my mind not to get this app.
Oh wait, there we go. That happens. It's quite responsive. Oh wait, this is not.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm going to move on because this is weird. But if it's out there for anybody who wants to try that is absolutely a weird thing. The books, I'm pretty sure for what you can pay for one of those books, just for the line art alone is worth it. But I usually enjoy apps that does things like that, but that's dumb. All right. And somebody's probably going to be like, well, you didn't do it right, whatever. Marvel has asked Cap fans for patience with Secret Empire and may have spoiled the ending. Now, I believe you have expressed your madness about Secret Empires, and I'm kind of sort of with you.
Yeah, and spoiled the ending.
Well, yeah, and I didn't read too, even though I don't care as much. I should have read it. But so I know they've been coming out and saying, hey, people, chill out. Read the story first and, see how it turns out. But basically they said something like Cap's going to redeem himself. Because as a matter of fact, I do remember that now.
Actually, I talked about that when I was talking about the book earlier.
Okay.
I didn't read this article, but sure. I talked about how there's 2 things basically in the first issue, and one may show how Cap turns back towards the side of good, and the other one may be how the whole universe just resets and forgets the whole thing.
Right. So, okay. It is what it is. Like I said, we'll play this out and see how it turns out. But I don't know. And event fatigue is probably also kind of weighing on me. So, which we've talked about. Before.
I was talking about event fatigue a whole lot in this show.
Yeah. So moving right along, Wolverine and Hulk clash in new print by Paulo Rivera. This is actually a pretty cool print. It looked almost CG for a second. So Sideshow Collectibles new limited edition variant print by Paulo Rivera based on that classic first meeting in 181 of Incredible Hulk. It's a little bit bigger one. It's a cool print if you like, if you like it. Oh geez. Oh no, that's for the print is going to be 250.
Eesh.
Yeah. I don't know. The last year at Heroes, I think I was at Chris Anka's table, and there was this print I wanted, and it was like 750, and I'm like, it was a good print. I haven't got nothing, and there was some I've seen on people's tables that were like 1,000. Which, you know what, artists got to get their money, so I'm not complaining about that. But wow. Moving right along, I'm pretty sure Matt Wang will probably have that up on his wall within the week. Top Cow releases full details for Talent Hunt 2017. So Top Cow does this every year. We've talked about it in the past few years where they're looking for new talent. This one is going to go from June to August 15th. And they talk about their past winners and this and other, and you can submit to them. Yeah, I'm sure if you go to their Twitter account, then you can get to the link for this. But there's a link also at the bottom of this article if you are checking out our show notes, which I did not tweet out now that I think about it because I usually do. But yeah, congrats to those folks whenever that happens. Okay, so this one was weird. There's a report from Newsarama saying Fox is in talks to acquire Tribune.
Now, I think this is for the comic book angle, is the fact that Tribune owns these comic strip characters, but this is like a media empire devouring a smaller media empire. Tribune runs, of course, the Chicago Tribune newspaper, WGN TV network, just tons of other regional papers and some magazines, and they have a radio network and all this other stuff. So Tribune owns more than just these strips, but because those strips are part of the package, Fox may end up buying them out, and then of course Fox Studios would have the rights to develop all those into shows. Which means we'll probably get another Dick Tracy movie, which that one wasn't terrible. No, we would get the first Dick Tracy movie. That other movie doesn't count. Wait, what other movie? The Warren Beatty movie didn't happen. Oh, I like that one. That wasn't bad. With him and Madonna, I thought it was quite colorful, and for the time, it was actually amusing. Wait, what other Dick Tracy movie are you talking about? Well, that's the one I'm talking about. It doesn't exist. And of course, we get another Annie or something. I don't know, but and a Brenda Starr. Ooh, but see, this reminds me of something I want to do. Like I was trying to gather all those old comic book movies into some kind of masochistic endeavor of watching, but yeah, I don't know how that's gonna play. Moving right along, Marvel. Here's what I'm talking about earlier. Marvel joins Comixology Unlimited, Kindle Unlimited, Amazon Prime Reading. Why does that all make sense? Because Comixology is owned by Amazon, so of course it would be on all of these things. Well, once they made the deal, anyway. All right, so I've been an Amazon Prime subscriber for, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. Yeah, I've been buying books on Comixology since like 2008, 2009, whatever. When Amazon bought Comixology and the two started to fold together, I noticed that if I went to Amazon.com and bought a digital copy of the comic, it would unlock on Amazon, but it would also unlock in Comixology. And the reason why this is important is because Comixology stopped supporting Windows 10 for an app. Like you can go in through your web browser and read everything fine, but if you want to download books and take them offline, there's no Comixology app on Windows anymore. But if you bought them through Amazon, it's the same price as buying them on Comixology, but it unlocks in the Amazon Reader. The Amazon Reader you can download offline on your laptop or Windows tablet. So I actually have been using Amazon as my Comixology storefront for a lot of stuff, just because I want that ability to have an extra place to watch it through. Right. Well, I noticed actually a couple months ago that I could download, I think it was January, I noticed that they had some Marvel books. There were a handful of Marvel books available through the Kindle, Prime Reading, they call it, where you can download books for free because you're a Prime subscriber. So I actually downloaded the old Iron Fist. I still haven't read it, but the Immortal Iron Fist series. I've got it sitting there to read next time we go on a trip, somewhere. And so when I saw the news going, I went back, started scrolling through the Amazon links, and I noticed that Amazon now says, Amazon used to have their own panel by panel reader where you would click on the page and it would just kind of scroll the page along to go through it. Well, now they've adopted the Comixology format into the Amazon format. So if you buy the book on Amazon and you download it through Amazon too, like your Kindle Fire tablet or something along those lines, it's actually the Comixology. It has that same technology that Comixology uses. So we're beginning to see much more interaction between the two companies. Before, it was you buy it on Amazon, it unlocks in both stores. Well, now we're seeing both stores just starting to merge together. So I think pretty soon we're just going to see your Kindle library is going to have the comics section, and that's Comixology, and it's just going to be integrated into all the Kindle readers and Kindle tablets.
That sounds promising. Then I haven't actually used the Kindle part of the store, and I didn't even think about the part about buying the books from Amazon part. That's interesting. But even what you were saying, some of these because they got a list of books that are on Comixology, Yolanda, and they also have another list in this article about some stuff that's going to be in Kindle Unlimited. So it's still they kind of parse some of the stuff out. So as kind of like what you were saying.
Well, yeah, with the Comixology Unlimited, that's probably going to be a little bit different just because Marvel, it's like a different licensing deal technically between the two sides.
Right.
But it just shows that they're coming, that much closer to bringing that stuff together.
But it sounds cool though. And yeah, we got some comments from Matt and I believe Tim also.
Yeah, I was going to say Matt Wang is asking if does Amazon have all the discounts and sales that Comixology has? And they have. I don't think it's the same sales. They have different sales. And that's why I say I do most of my stuff through Amazon. There are some things you'll see on Comixology that are 99 cents that are still $1.99 or $2.99 on Amazon, but then it's also vice versa. There's sometimes I'll go into Amazon and they have stuff that's 99 cents that's not in the Comixology app. So it's like buying digital music or a movie or something else. You might see it. Google Play Store will have it for $4.99. Vudu has it for $3.99. iTunes has it for $7.99. You just shop around and
they still don't have all that standard, which I guess that is a thing that's going to probably continue to be the case. So, and the whole Comixology thing, like they have sales on stuff every other moon, when it fancies them, and for different reasons. So I guess some of that kind of stands to reason. But we can move on because some of Matt's comments are kind of hilarious. The Eisner Awards nominees have been put out. And I would think IO9 because they gave me the link to the link to this. So the Eisner Awards happen every year, I believe at Comic-Con, San Diego, is when the Eisner Awards happen, if I'm not mistaken. But we now have all of the nominees, and I think people are probably going to start voting somewhere in the next month or two. I can't remember how all that works, but the list is out there if you go to Comic-Con's site, and you can go check that out. And I probably shouldn't have put this in because this was an interview, but it was, and we've already talked about Youngblood, so we can probably skip it. But there was an article talking to Chad Bowers and Jim Toe about bringing back Youngblood, and I think Liefeld's involvement. Last bit of news: Mike Deodato Jr. joins Astonishing X-Men art rotation. So we kind of hinted about this earlier. The art team for Astonishing X-Men #2 is out, and it's it's Frank Martin and Mike Deodato Jr. And I guess this is going to be a thing. So I don't know, because it said rotation, so I don't know how, and I don't think it says about how often they're going to rotate. But
I'm guessing twice a month. That's the new thing.
Is this bi-weekly book, or is this monthly?
Well, I mean, how long ago did we get the last issue of X-Men Gold?
I think that was actually 2 weeks ago. So here we go. X-Men 1 is slated for release in July, but that's still not saying much. And 2 will be in August, because I mean that could be the end of July and first couple of weeks of June, August. So still doesn't say, but regardless, we got some art from it, and he's joining rotation, and I'm sure there are going to be some people that are astonished. Hyuk. That was terrible. Anywho, that is it for the news. Hey, they can't all be Jim's folk. They cannot. But actually, I was gonna address something that was in Twitter. Oh, Tim said he's tuned in for the news. Good job, thank you. Digital crayons is kind of ridiculous, and you can definitely get those color books for $8 or whatever. So,
all right. So, clicks of the week. Tim and I actually both picked Batman 22 as part of the Button crossover.
Nice.
Bruce actually meets Thomas from the parallel Flashpoint universe. We both enjoyed that immensely. And
so here's my question: Is the Button, as so far from what you've read, is that has been pretty decent so far? I mean, I know the whole behind Rebirth and the that part of it is.
Yeah, like you have to have read Flashpoint and the DC Rebirth special for it to make sense.
Sure.
But if you have read those, then yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay. I'm sorry, you're going to say something else?
Well, I was just going to say Agent_70 sent us his click of the week.
That is true.
His click of the week is Black Bolt #1.
And I'm pretty sure he would, if he were here, he would have the hip hop cover, which is a pretty good one, based off of Pete Rock's Peastrumental.
Oh, I've got it right here. Boom.
There we go.
Right there.
Yeah.
Actually, there were a couple hip hop covers this week. There was that one. There was the all new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, right. And that was the Jean Grey one, also, right?
Do I have that one?
Oh, yeah. This is a good amount of cover. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's Jean Grey. There's that one.
Yeah. And I think I saw that one, but I have no idea what it is.
It's a person who did a thing. That's that one. And then I guess your click of the week is the one
by default
that you read this week.
Yeah, by default it's going to be Noble #1 by Lionforge. Like I said, it was a good read, so there's a pretty good chance it. I mean, granted, there was Champions. Like I had Champions, a couple of others to read through, but there was a good chance that it could have been anyway.
Yeah, actually, when I was sitting down doing my list, I realized that Philip ran off with the Nova. The all new Guardians of the Galaxy, I didn't get to read either of those. Right. He ran off with something else I was going to read also. So I'm going to have to. I bought it. I have not read it.
Oh, okay.
It's in my pile. And like the Rogue One, I bought the Star Wars Rogue One. I've been buying that one just because there's extra scenes that aren't in the movie that made it.
Right, you said that. I've been tempted to pick it up, but normally I don't usually get the novelization or the adaptations.
And Spider-Man is the other one that Philip ran off with. That I'm gonna have to go ransack his room and find these comics. So Actually, you know what? I just realized I don't.
What? You don't?
I don't have to go to his room and find the copies because the digital codes are back.
Aha!
I redeem the codes. I can just download the digitals and read those.
Oh,
Problem
man.
solved.
Isn't that such a wonderful thing to have?
Man,
God damn it, Marvel. What were you thinking prior to this?
Well, I like how they made the comment. It was something like, well, the fans have made it very clear, and so we're
Right.
bringing back the digital copies. It's like, yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And if they had thought about that in the first place.
Same issue digital codes are back.
Woo! Yes. And yeah, as it says, you get a copy of All New Wolverine. I don't have no idea what that was. I think that was an Enemy of the State 2 thing. But...
Anyway.
So yeah. So those are our clicks. And
Batman 22, Black Bolt 1, and Noble number 1.
Yeah, let me sure I put this in. Oh yes, we're gonna put Black Bolt in. But in the meantime, I think we got one more ad to do. And I just realized that I was the one handling that. So let me get out of here and pull that back up. I should have saved the busted tease for later. Bear with me for one moment. Hey, since we brought him up, sure, Amazon. Visit
CSU? What?
There we go. You can visit CSU. I don't know what you're going to find there. Visit cspn.us, then click on Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon you normally would, like whether it's books, get your comic books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel. I can say that word. I promise.
I'm not convinced.
You know, I need some convincing myself. For every purchase made on Amazon through a link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast running free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
And our final note from Agent 70 tonight, which I missed mentioning this earlier. The McNiven art on Secret Empire 1, he says was disappointing. Not up to the usual standard. So think about that. McNiven, you've let Agent 70 down.
Yeah. And now, is he the one just doing the whole run, or are they going to rotate?
Well, it's probably going to be like most Marvel crossovers where he's the only artist, and then about 4 issues in, he gets behind, and they bring in people to fill in.
Joyous times.
Yep. All right. Anything you need to plug before we get off the air?
No, I think I'm good to see you. If you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, go see it because it's good. It's got some stuff in it. Go check out your free comic book day stuff this Saturday. Just buy some stuff while you're there at your local comic book shop. Please be nice. Yeah. And
I will say, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, I have bought a piece of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 merchandise. That is the Star-Lord MP3 player.
Yes, that plays a big role in the movie.
This apparently you can connect it to your phone somehow and rip an MP3 of a song that's on your phone. So I guess you can bootleg your music that's locked down through whatever subscription service you're using. But you can also.
There's a funny joke about something with that at the end of the movie, but I can't. You'll appreciate it, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll see it tomorrow. So
yeah.
But then it also has there's some sort of voice changer thing, so you can record your voice and play it back and distort it. So I have not opened this yet, but when I saw it in the store, I was like, well, that has to go home with me. There's no way I'm not buying it. That's kind of neat.
So wait, so I think it's not a functioning tape player.
No, it does not play cassettes.
Sure.
That's just a fake little cassette window. But
record music from your smartphone and listen anywhere and anytime on the go. Or record your voice and play it back in ultra fast speed. Oh yeah. Or backward. No, have more universe one song at a time.
There you go.
I'm going to assume that was supposed to be Rocket doing the voiceover there.
So, I mean, like I said, there was no way I was not leaving without that. So,
Okay, that's cute. I like that. That's cool. But I think we're done here outside of that.
all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching the show. On behalf of Tim, DOGG98, and Agent_70, Roddy Cat, and myself, thanks for watching. Don't forget to go to theclicknation.com to check out more great content. Also, don't forget to check out CSPN.us for the rest of the Cold Slither Podcasting Network. And that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Ta-da!